Welcome back, video creeps. Now I want to start this video by saying I don't hate full moon. It's not gonna seem that way, but it's true. No hate here and nothing but respect for the little corner that they have been able to carve out for themselves. You know, full moon, I feel like the energy is where it needs to be. But at the same time, it kind of feels like that one kid who like means well, but you just can't help but want to like beat the shit out of him because he keeps fucking up the group project. Like, you ever see the first half of Full Metal Jacket? That. But they really do try. They try to keep their head in the game. They've dropped some fun stuff. Like, sure, there's some weird stuff in there too, like the evil bongs. They got the head of the families and the ginger dead men. And if you look on their merch store, the copious amounts of corn that they are selling now, which, to be honest, was inevitable. But every now and again, they have dropped bangers like Castle Freak. Let us pretend that there's more on this list. And of course, Puppet Master, which no doubt is their flagship franchise, with a shitload of movies underneath their belt and more on the way. The only issue with Puppet Master is you don't give a shit about Puppet Master. Shh, it's okay. It's okay. It's out there. I said it. You don't need to feel bullied about it anymore, because in this video, we're going to break down why you don't care and why that's okay. So sit back, relax, make sure you like the video, and let's get the intro going. Now, the Puppet Master franchise popped on the scene back in 1989, the same year I did. And since then, it has seriously garnered a cult following over the years, giving people 15 films and a remake in its legacy. That said, even with its niche and very dedicated little fan base, it is very difficult to ignore the very clear shortcomings that have globbed on and kind of become a staple in this series. Now, I can't speak for everyone, but if I had to list the reasons why, it wouldn't be difficult. For example, for every single thriving franchise, the occasional deviation from the main storyline can be critical to keeping the franchise fresh. However, one of the major issues with Puppet Master is the flat-out lack of consistency. I don't know if it's because of the frequent changes in screenwriters or directors, but the series has struggled film and film again to maintain a coherent form of storytelling. And it's noticeable that all the turnover has resulted in a disjointed and super confusing narrative. And when there is a lack of consistency with this many films, what you end up with is a diluted and fragmented film experience. On the other hand, going in the complete opposite direction, the film also suffers from a tendency to recycle and repeat storylines, which feels like fucking pick a lane, man. Now, I love the concept of killer puppets. I am a sucker for that genre through and through. To me, that premise has endless promise for creativity and innovation. However, the Puppet Master films have just relied on terribly predictable and formulaic plots with incredibly predictable character arcs. And for a franchise with so many entries, at its core, that is the biggest sin being committed here. They have had opportunity after opportunity, and it is continued to fail in that way, or to evolve or introduce new ideas that keep you engaged. Then there's like this weird guilt that has to wash over you as a viewer, right? Because you're not dumb. You know what you're watching isn't quality, but at the same time, it's Puppet Master, right? I'm supposed to love this, but it's not your fault. There's a strong stagnation at play here. And ultimately, the diminishing returns from allowing your time to this franchise leaves you bored, as you should be. You don't have to feel like shit or less of a horror fan because of that. Now, despite having a unique roster of really awesome puppets, something else that the franchise struggles with is to develop the individual personalities of the puppets, or to develop the backstories in an effective and interesting way. Like, yeah, we know the puppets have like the spirit of a puppeteer or a fucking psychic or whatever, which at its core is weird, but we let a lot slide. But the glaring issue is that there is an emotional depth that could be achieved by understanding the motivations of each puppet. Why are they so loyal to their master? And knowing the puppets makes how they approach different situations more interesting. Fuck, even the way that the puppets would interact with each other, if they had distinct personalities, would be great to see. But that is not something important to the people creating the Puppet Master films. Instead, the movies prioritize showcasing the puppets' gruesome kills over that meaningful character development. Which, is cool. We do need that to fit the criteria of a horror movie, right? But foregoing all character development just reveals an incredibly sad truth. And that's that after you appreciate these puppets for what they are, all that's left are incredibly one-dimensional characters who lack depth, and they make it very difficult to become emotionally invested in these characters. You end up not caring about their fates. You can't have 7 puppets and each one be a stoic killing machine like they're all Michael Myers. And that's not just the puppets either. The human characters as well are severely underwritten. Like, you gotta give me something, Puppet Master. If the puppets are mindless killing machines, awesome. But at the very least, help me side with the protagonist. Now, I spoke a bit about the lack of consistency within these films, but there is one thing that has been ever consistent with the Puppet Master franchise, and that of course is the low budget. Like all things, this area can be forgiven. We all do it. You watch something a bit low quality and you say to yourself, you know what? They tried their best. And a low production is not always an indicator that the content will be bad. However, here, the lackluster cinematic values and the subpar special effects have without question hindered this franchise. Even the puppets themselves, which is the biggest selling point, suffer from inconsistent puppet designs, ineffective puppetry, and just unconvincing special effects. Which, as a horror fan, to say that is messed up, because we accept a lot. Like, it's already a huge ask to put me in the position of a mindset where I have to just believe that supernaturally possessed dolls are killing people. But the added layer of janky puppeteering and terrible special effects compromise the world that they're trying to build. And it affects the impact of what they're trying to make you believe. And I think what's worse about that is that didn't happen all at once. In fact, Puppet Master 1, the franchise starts off with a strong respect for cinema. There's a clear standard of filmmaking present. But over the years, the Puppet Master franchise has continued to experience a lack in quality, which is strange for me because when you think of Full Moon, you think of Puppet Master, son, because again, it is the flagship franchise. You would think if there was one property that they were going to be pouring money into, this would be the one. They clearly believe in its strength and these characters, or else they wouldn't continue to put out these films. So why the later entries in the franchise have struggled to recapture the charm and intrigue of the earlier films is an unfortunate and odd choice. It's clear that at this point, as the franchise expanded, a weird priority took place where quantity just overrode quality. And we as the audience are forced to try and see if they will recapture that essence that stood so proudly in the original film. And for me, I feel like they've done this so many times that it's almost impossible for them to ask their fans to stay loyal to them. In a nutshell, the Puppet Master franchise has fallen short of its potential for a myriad of reasons. While it may still have its dedicated fan base, for the rest of us, it is unfair to be asked to overlook the series' multiple shortcomings. And what really kills me is the implication that as a horror fan, you are supposed to hold space for Puppet Master. We are expected to champion these films, even though these films have never respected themselves enough to keep it together and give you something to be proud of. It's like being in a bad relationship with somebody where you genuinely care, but they just don't care about themselves. So they certainly don't care about you, and I'm here. I'm giving you permission and telling you that it's okay to not love these films. It's okay to be mad at them. You aren't less of a horror fan, especially if the reason is because you've developed standards for film and you have a criteria for the media that you give your time to. And if you're an elitist who still stands behind these films, I would take caution before standing so tall, because at their core, they're not very good. And what does that say about you? Now, we can hope for a return to form for the Puppet Master franchise, and we can pray that we get interesting storylines and compelling characters. But at the same time, it's not your fucking responsibility to raise these films up because we all think Pinhead or Blade are iconic. And just to touch on it before we get out of here, we did get a glimpse of what it would look like if these films got their shit together. The 2018 Fangoria remake lent Puppet Master a compassionate and creative hand. And that movie really reminded us that these films do in fact have promise to be amazing. It's also one of the first films I ever reviewed on my channel, which is just wonderful. Go demon Nazi puppets. Beyond that, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more. YouTube straight up hates me, so make sure that your notification bell is on. Doing all three of those things helps me out, and it makes me want to keep coming on here and talking my shit. In addition to that, if you really want to go above and beyond, I do have a Patreon where I have over 200 posts of content, exclusive videos and write-ups and music, all kinds of just dope fun stuff. So if you want to support the channel, head over there and check it out. Other than that, peace, video creeps.